he sat down and crossed his legs and watched his wife linger in pain. His wife was really suffering from it. He would sit without doing anything but just watch. And finally, this pain will overcome his wife. His wife will pass away, and he will stand up and say to himself, okay, now I have to do something and I must do it fast. And he will do the unthinkable. He will wrap his wife's body with a blanket and place it inside a deep freezer, and he will add some ice packs onto his wife's body, and he will call his two kids, telling them all the food in the house has been poisoned or has been cursed, so when they eat it, the food will also take their lives. With that, he locked his two kids in a separate room within their apartment, and he also sat down waiting. When the police came, the police will find him sitting on the family's restroom toilet. He was deceased. Police will also found his wife's decomposing body inside this refrigerator. And later, they will break this door that the kids were locked inside, and the two kids were unconscious. Mr. Samuel Jackson and his wife, Ernestina Jackson, relocated from the Netherlands to Ghana along with their two kids. They were a well-to-do family. They did not rely on anyone for survival, and they were a happy family. They were so happy that even the neighbors around could tell. But they had one problem. They were a reserved family. They do not talk to anyone who is not within their inner circle. Even when they were relocating from Netherlands to Ghana, they did not inform any of their relatives. Their family members had no idea that they had relocated from the Netherlands to Ghana. This shows how reserved they are. This shows the kind of secluded life they live. None of their neighbors could be able to talk to them. On August 4, 2022, someone will place a disturbing 911 call to the police. It was about the Jacksons. This person explained that the last time that they saw the Jacksons were when they parked their car and moved into their apartment. Since May of 2022, they have never come out of the apartment. This made the police suspected a foul play and immediately decided to do a welfare check on the Jacksons. When they went to the Jacksons' apartment, the doors were all locked and sealed. The police had to force themselves inside the apartment, and when they went inside the apartment, what they encounter was so heartbreaking, was so tragic that the eye could not even comprehend seeing such. The eye could not comprehend watching this live incident. The police will encounter the body of Ernestina Jackson in a decomposing state inside a deep freezer, and the body of Mr. Samuel Jackson in a decomposing state sitting on the family's restroom toilet seat. He was deceased and his body was in a decomposing state. The police will later investigate the house and come across a separate door that has been locked. When the police forced themselves into this room that was locked, what was in front of the police was so intense, was so gruesome that one of the police kneeled down to cry. They will come across Jake Jackson, who is 13 years old, and Jesse Jackson, who is 11 years old, on the bare floor, barely hanging on to life. They could neither talk, walk, or even understand what has happened to their parents. These kids had no idea what has happened to their parents. They are now about to uncover the shocking secret that has passed behind them. This case has been locked for months without food nor water. It was believed that it was a miracle that this case were still alive, but barely hanging on to life. They were unconscious, and it was due to malnutrition. They were unconscious due to starvation. According to them, their parents had earlier on told them that all the food in the house is cursed or has been poisoned. So the kids were afraid to eat this food. And since this family were so reserved to the extent that the kids were unable to even go to their neighbors to seek for help, they decided to stay in this room. They did not even shout and cry for help, because that is the kind of life that their parents had given them. Yes, secluded life, not involving yourself into the affairs of other people or when other people wants to come into your inner life, you reject them. That was the kind of life that they were living. So it made it difficult for Jesse Jackson and Jake Jackson to call for help within these 3 or 4 months of starvation inside the room. Police will later disclose that Madam Ernestina Jackson has been deceased about 3 months ago, before Samuel Jackson was also deceased. Police immediately launched an investigation into this case and the bizarre circumstances surrounding the Jacksons' family. But due to how bizarre and intense this case is, it was very difficult for the police to get into the profounding of this whole issue. When the police made a detailed investigation as to the circumstances surrounding the sudden demise of the Jacksons family, the police will make a shocking discovery. It was a shocking discovery because it will be very difficult to understand why they decided to come to this conclusion. Mr. and Mrs. Jackson will decide to unalive themselves. No one knows the reason why Mr. Samuel Jackson and Ernestina Jackson will decide to end their life in this way. When the police entered the scene, they found out there were no foul play on these 2 victims. This made the police concluded that it was a decision. These couples decided to starve themselves for a reason best known to them. It was unclear why they decided to do this. This couple decided to unalive themselves, and it was a decision made by them, but their case did not know anything about this decision. But since they are part of the family, it becomes automatic for them to be part of this pact, to be part of this agreement made by their parents to unalive themselves. That is why their father will lock them in this room and they will all get starved till they are unalive. The police will immediately take Jake Jackson and Jesse Jackson to the hospital. Passing some few weeks at the hospital, they will start to recover immediately. Since the Jacksons were living a reserved life, no one knows where their family members were. No one knows any of their family members because they hardly get visitors at their apartment. They hardly talk to people. So the police made an announcement to the general public that whoever knows them should come forward. The police will later display the images of the couple to the general public that whoever knows them should come forward. And not long, the family of Ernestina Jackson came forward to identify her as their relative. As I'm speaking right now, Jake Jackson and Jesse Jackson are in the family of their mother. Their mother's family came to take custody of the 2 boys. The police ruled cause of their demise. It was very difficult to conclude why the Jacksons would like to do this. No one knows the main reason. A good family, a great family who has just recently relocated from the Netherlands to Ghana. They were a well-to-do family and no one knows the reason why they decided to end their lives this way. Due to how bizarre their demise was, it was unclear what happened to Mr. Samuel Jackson and his wife, Ernestina Jackson. It was unclear what caused these tragic incidents to the Jackson's family, and the police find it difficult to understand what actually happened to them.